and welcome to the Cincy Sports Scene podcast. I'm your host, Dave. This is episode number 119. We're here along with Sam and Crawley, Charlie, better known as. Together, we're bringing you all the latest news, sports news from the Cincinnati area. We'd really appreciate you hitting that like and subscribe buttons and sharing us with your friends, out-of-town friends who might be from Cincinnati, but they're no longer getting the latest news from Cincinnati. That'll help us out because our goal is to become the number one place for all the latest Cincinnati sports news and information. And with your help, we might be able to do that. On today's episode, we will discuss 10 topics that make you go, We'll give you our takes, but we'll only have 2 minutes combined to discuss these topics. So get your stopwatches ready. And let's start our engines here with the week that was. So, gentlemen, how are we doing?
I'm doing better than the UC basketball team, I guess. And I had the flu this week, so.
Yeah, I'm sure we'll get into that for a little bit. So, but yeah, I'm doing fine. Yeah, still working on the house, so it's been quite a bit of my time this weekend.
Yep. I actually went out today to hit some golf balls at the driving range. First few were horrible, but then it started getting better. Actually got tee times for tomorrow. So yeah, right after school, hitting the links.
Night.
All right, let's go ahead and get into the week that was. Speaking of feeling sick, the UC Bearcats basketball team and fans must be feeling sick right now. 2 losses. Utah was a close game, 69-66. West Virginia, though, today at home, 63-50. I mean, you can't lose like that at home, especially.
It wasn't even that close, honestly.
Yeah, in this, especially in this conference.
Yeah.
Thoughts on UC's week?
Another horrible week. I mean, I watched the first half today, the game today, and they just had no effort, lack of effort, just sloppy all around. You could tell that they mentally just weren't in it, let alone, the skills to make any shots just wasn't there. They had more turnovers than field goals made in the first half. And so, I turned it off. I don't even know what happened in the second half, but it's bad. It's not getting any better. I don't know what they do from here. I really don't.
Well, we'll get into that in our 10 minutes or 10 topics in 20 minutes because you have that as one of your topics. So,
yeah.
Crawley, what about you?
Yeah, same thing. This was after the game West post game comments. This is definitely the most critical he's been of the team, talking about effort and kind of calling them all out. But yeah, I don't know where they go from here. It's as bad as I can't even imagine that was going to be this bad. It just doesn't make sense when you have better players and you're playing worse. And worse, not just worse, but not even competitive. They're not even in games. They were in every game pretty much last year. And on paper, they have a better roster. And somehow they're playing significantly worse. Not one player has progressed.
Yeah, last year it was, if they could make a couple more free throws or hit a couple more threes, because they were losing games by 4, 5, 6 points. But now, they're scoring 50 points. They're averaging, I think they said today on the broadcast, 61 points in Big 12 play. That's ridiculous. That's awful. That's really bad.
And once again, they shot under 30%, I think, overall, and under, for threes, and just.
Yeah.
I didn't watch any of it. I didn't need to because I turned it on. I was in the car and I turned on the first half and was listening to Terry Nelson and Dan Horde and just, I mean, when I first turned on, they were already down 13, and I said, okay, no need to even think I'm going to watch any of this. And I mean, Terry Nelson was just blasting them throughout the time that I was listening to it, and effort, turnovers. Dan Horde, especially, he's really never negative. I mean, he sat through how many awful Bengal seasons and UC football and whatever, but even he was just like, these turnovers are just ridiculous that they're committing. I mean, they're not even, even being forced. They're not forced turnovers. They're just throwing the ball away and whatever. So I don't know. Yeah, I guess we'll talk about it. I don't know what we're going to talk about, but sure. West, I don't think West could even answer that question. So
I don't think he can. Yeah.
Well, and that's, I mean, I know, like you said in his post game, they had a little blurb on Twitter about it, where he was saying this is, in his 14 years of basketball coach, he's never seen anything that resembles this lack of effort. And John Brennan, the coach before Wes, when he was real critical of the players, and it's one of the reasons why they got rid of him. We'll discuss some things here in our 2 minutes with Wes, but 13-33 in Big 12 play, UC football and UC basketball. Think about that.
Yeah, I mean, that's the downside of chasing the money, right? That was the move that they made. Now, I mean, this is all football driven.
Right.
They had, and I mean, currently still do have a better chance of making the college football playoff as a group of 5 team than they would in the Big 12.
Yep.
No, I'm saying if they're
group of 5?
Yeah, if they drop back down, they would have a better chance of building the program up to make the college football playoff than they would today in the Big 12. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Because, I mean, one, they already did it. So you have that data set. And, I mean, two, that's where UC kind of thrives in that in-between. When football was really good, Brian Kelly and all them, they were, in the Big East, which was very clearly the lesser of the power conferences back then. Very similar to the American. Honestly, it really was, except it just had the power name to it. That's kind of where they thrive football-wise. I mean, basketball-wise, shouldn't matter. Basketball should translate, but hasn't so far in these 2 years. So I don't know. Chasing the money and cool. Now you're mediocre at best. So I don't know.
Interesting. Okay. Up next for them, they got UCF and BYU. Lost to BYU on the road, so BYU comes to town. UCF, don't know a whole lot about them.
They can score a lot.
They can score a lot. So let's hope that our defense shows up and these guys play with some heart. All right, little FC Cincy news here. Acosta is back. Thoughts on his return? And do you think he's going to play like he did last year, or do you think he's going to, just milk it and not get injured? And
I don't think he's going to be on the team. I think he's on the team right now, but everything I've read in the last day or two, they're getting closer and closer to sending him to a team in Argentina, which is where he wants to go. They've identified a team. I don't think I would say in the next couple weeks, if even less, he's not here anymore. They do have a backup plan. I don't know much of this Evander guy. I don't know anything about him. I haven't really looked into it, but supposedly this guy is a scorer and midfielder kind of player that would take his place. And I don't know why they think he's that they're getting him, but I don't know if they have some back deal plan that some people are aware of or whatever. Maybe Sam knows more on that than me. So
I do not. No, this is the first I'm hearing of that. I haven't really been keeping up with FC this week at all. So, I mean, that'll be something I have to look into a little bit. But yeah, I mean, it'll be hard to replace him. Just the playmaking ability that he has. It's going to be hard because, I mean, they brought in a goal scorer, but he's a goal scorer. He's not really a creator in Danke. So he's still got to have somebody to, help set them up. So if they do end up shipping Acosta out, they're going to have to find that person, whether it's Orejano or somebody internally or going out and signing somebody.
Okay. Well, their season, when's their first preseason game?
Probably pretty
It already
soon, I
happened
imagine.
past week.
It already happened?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So they got a couple preseason games coming up, and then they open up, the end of February?
Yeah, something like it's this month. I know that.
22nd, 23rd,
Yeah.
somewhere around there. So we'll have more as the season approaches on FC Cincy. And then we've got the Reds and Bengals, but I think we're going to be pushing those into our topics of the week. I do want to mention, though, for the Ohio State Buckeyes, they did win the national championship. Congratulations to all the Buckeye fans out there. And, the thing about that, their defensive coordinator, Bolt, he goes to Penn State for about $3.1 million per year. You would think Ohio State would be able to match that. So I don't know if there's some rift or something going on there. And then just today, I saw that Chip Kelly is going to the Las Vegas Raiders as their offensive coordinator. So you lose your offensive coordinator and your defensive coordinator. Buckeyes. So, good luck. Good luck there. All right, moving on to our rankings edition. Excuse me. We are going to rank the 6 Cincinnati teams, but we're going to base it on the best game day atmosphere. Now, there is a little caveat to this. The best game day atmosphere is in Cincinnati. Don't come at us on Twitter or Instagram. Opening day is the best game day atmosphere, period. Leading up to it, all that stuff. We know that, but that is not what we're talking about. Just a regular season game.
When the teams are good is kind of how I looked at it.
When the teams are good,
yeah.
Those type of things. Even if the teams aren't great, what is the best game day atmosphere? When you get to the ballpark, what is the best? Okay, so we're going to go in reverse order, 6 to 1. Crawley, lead us off.
What did I? Oh, there it is. Like, where'd my list go? So I didn't necessarily just look at it in the ballpark. I looked at it be pregame. I mean, I think a lot of game day atmosphere is pregame.
Right.
Outside
that's
of the
game day
ballpark.
atmosphere. Right. That's
game leading up
atmosphere.
to it and tailgating and all that kind of stuff.
Right.
I put a lot of weight on that versus in the stadium or in the arena. So
yes.
So I'm going number 6. That's right. Number 6, I put Xavier basketball.
Oh, okay.
So, and I will say this just in terms of my overall rankings, I think basketball is harder to have a great game day atmosphere than football is. You don't have the pre-gaming, you don't have the tailgating, you don't have the parades, you don't have all that stuff. So basketball for me was the bottom of the list, not because they don't do a good job in the arena, but I don't. When I've gone to a UC or a Xavier basketball game, I just go to the game. I go to the game, watch it, and then I leave. There's not a bunch of people just hanging out everywhere and just doing that kind of stuff. So for me, I just being there, I don't see really much pregame period. So, and I just flipped a coin, UC versus Xavier. I like UC better than Xavier, so I put Xavier last. So there you go.
You heard that, boss.
She knows that.
Sam. Yeah, Sam.
Yeah, I mean, very similar process to Crawley. I have Xavier at 6 as well. Very similarly, basketball is a little bit harder. One, crowds are smaller. They're going to be the smallest crowds in general, so it's just going to have less of, just less people, less of a big game feel to it, outside of the crosstown showdown or shootout or whatever. And so, yeah, I mean, like Crawley said, Xavier's just going to go below UC. So
I had the other. I had UC just because, like I said, I've never been. I haven't been to the shoe since back in the early 90s. And, with the atmosphere there now, yeah, I think Xavier has the slight edge. So
I mean, I'd also rather go out before the game in Clifton than in Norwood. So
there's Listerman's right there.
Great.
All right, so I guess your fifth is UC basketball.
That
Gentlemen?
was mine, yeah.
Yep.
All right, so and mine's Xavier basketball. All right, so the fourth one.
Fourth one for me was the Reds. Again, it's harder to hype up baseball than it is football in terms of pregame and all this, all this stuff going around the stadium and things. So, outside of opening day, and the kids' day, opening day thing where they have the red carpet, that's pretty cool. I've been to that a few times. But outside of those, compared to football, those and the Reds, just part of it is just they haven't been very good. So, you don't have the crowds as much there to get crazy either. So I put the Reds fourth.
Actually, I had the Bengals 4 here. Just in part because I just don't like their stadium. That's just part of it. It really does affect the atmosphere for me. I just don't like it. It's hard to get excited for me going into the stadium. Once you're there and the game's happening, of course, it's pretty. It can be electric, really, especially when they do the Stripe the Jungle and the night games and all of that stuff. But I don't know, part of the atmosphere and just feeling the big game is like you're in a big game stadium, and Paul Brown is, or whatever they call it now, is not that. So
Okay, I had the Reds as well here. They're along the banks, in between the alleys there. That is, that's pregame. You can pregame and walk into the stadium. Get to your seats. Nothing beats sitting in, watching a baseball game and in the summer evening. I mean, it's just relaxing. But as far as just the hype and stuff, yeah, it's not as, get your rocking and rolling as you say here. But hopefully they'll change that this year, and it'll be electric down at the ballpark again. All right, so number 3.
Number 3, this is where I put the Bengals. I agree with Sam from the standpoint of the stadium. Not very nice, not very good. Pretty on the bottom of football stadiums. But I mean, it's a lot of tailgating, a lot of people having a good time beforehand, and that sort of thing. You got a lot of stuff around the stadium. I mean, the area around the stadium is nice to be able to do stuff at. They have a good place, just like for the Reds. So I put the Bengals third.
Sam?
I've got the Reds third. I mean, it was tough between the Reds and the Bengals, but I think also when the Reds are good, which my adult life has never happened, at least with fans being allowed. But I do think when the Reds are good, I do have memories of, this 2010, 2011, 2012 teams, just watching on TV, hearing how loud that stadium gets night after night when the Reds are good.
Yeah, I had the Bengals here at 3, just because when you think of game day atmospheres, it's tailgating. You get into the jungle, and when the Bengals are good and the jungle is roaring, it makes for a pretty exciting, revved up game. So yeah, and football just leads to that, right? Okay, so number 2.
I put UC football here. It's the one I've been to the most since I've had season tickets for the last, whatever it is, 3 or 4 years. I also like college better than professional, better than NFL when it comes to atmosphere. The tailgating, I think, is better. It's more, I don't know, there's the traditions of college football versus NFL. Now, if my NFL team was a different team, then who knows, it might be different. But in general, I like college football better than NFL from the standpoint of that stuff, the tailgating and the pregame. So I put UC football. They're doing, it's a good atmosphere there.
It is. Sam?
Yeah, I've got UC football as well. Pretty much all the same reasons. Tailgating in Clifton beforehand and, just getting into it. I've only ever been in the student section, so maybe that skews it a little bit. It's a little more fun when you're in the student section, but so really good atmosphere, especially when they're good.
It was a good atmosphere last year when we went a few times, and especially Nip at night. Oh man,
Yeah.
it's rocking. They tailgate all day and place is loud, and when the band comes down the stairs, and the flames come up and the Bearcats come out, it makes for an exciting venue. So it looks like the number one is a clean sweep across the board, FC Cincinnati. So why did you put them there?
There's just, it's just a big party before the game. They're the only ones that have a designated location for the party and the festivities, and it's right in the center of OTR, and there's a big march that goes on, music playing, instruments going. They're known for, and soccer is just like this. I don't know if it is in other MLS places. I think some of the cities, they don't even know they have a team. But in Cincinnati, they, surely we celebrate them. And there's the whole reason we had a team was because of the fan support and all the stuff when they were just a USL team. So I've been to a number of those games, and yeah, it's just a really good atmosphere.
Yeah. Second, everything Crawley says. And once you're in the stadium, you kind of have, with the Bailey, you have like designated roles as fans when you're there. Yep. And that's really how it should be. Soccer does get that right in Europe. They get that right over there. It's one of the things I wish, baseball, basketball, football would do over here too.
Yep, and I concur with all of that. Marching, and when they were in the lower league for the MSL, marching from Mecklenburg Gardens to Nip, that was just awesome. It was just you felt part of the team. You felt part of, hey, we're going in and we're gonna make our voices heard, and we're gonna cheer on the boys to victory, and that's fun. And then once you get inside the stadium, yeah, it is the Bailey is a whole nother level. So that is our rankings. So if you agree with us or you disagree with us, go ahead and let us know. You can find us on Instagram at CincySportScn, or at Twitter, or X, I should say, at CincySportScn as well. So just let us know what you think we got right and what you think we got wrong, and why. We always like to hear from our fans. So now we're going to be moving into our trivia. And Crawley, you had a question last week. You want to quickly review that? And I know we got a couple right, but we did not get them all right. So why don't you go ahead and...
Yep. The question was the NFL coaches who have coached two different teams to the Super Bowl. And there were 7 answers. I believe you got Andy Reid.
We got 4.
And then you got Andy Reid, Dick Vermeil. I think you said Dan Reeves, Don Shula, and then Bill Parcells, maybe?
Bill Parcells.
Parcells, yeah.
And then, am I telling the other 2 now?
Yep, go ahead. Okay.
The other 2 were John Fox and Mike Holmgren.
Forgot about Mike Holmgren with the
Jefferson Seahawks. That's right.
Yep.
Yeah, Seahawks did go that.
All right. We got a theme here. We got Super Bowl theme, since Super Bowl is coming next week. So the question is, I want you to tell me what Super Bowl, so what number, what teams, and what venue was the last time that the Super Bowl was played in January. So,
jeez.
Yes. Yes. So it's a 3-parter here. So if you can tell me the teams, the Super Bowl number itself, and the venue of the last time it was played in January.
Got no idea, Crawley. This one's on you. Got no clue.
Yeah, it's been a while.
Is it in my lifetime?
Yes.
Okay.
I don't even know what this Super Bowl is. 56? I don't even know.
8. or 9?
58.
59.
I think it's 59.
It's
yeah.
59.
59. So that's what I'm saying. I don't even know what this one was in terms of the number. So
Okay, you can give me the year.
it's probably been 15 years. I don't know, 12 years. I mean, it was probably a Patriots Super Bowl. That would be my guess as one of the teams. Was it a Patriots Super Bowl?
It was not a Patriots
Oh,
Super Bowl.
okay. Well, then I really don't know. I mean, they were in the Super Bowl 7 times, and 9 or whatever it was, 9 times in a matter of 12 years. So
I'm going to go a little before that. I don't know the year, but I'm going to say the Rams-Titans Super Bowl.
No.
No?
No.
And I don't even know the venue of that one. So.
yeah, I have no idea what number that was either. So.
All right. Well,
Yeah.
those of you that are listening out there, hopefully we can get your brain moving, get those wheels moving. If you think you know the answer without looking it up, go ahead and let us know, and we'll give a shout out to you on the show next week as the correct contestants here. So let's move on. We're going to move on here, and we're going to our new little segment here for our topic of the week. We are doing the 10 topics in 20 minutes. Each of us selected 3 topics that we wanted to discuss, throw out there for the other 2 hosts to debate, talk about, and then we each came up with a wild card. And before the show, we decided on which wild card we are going to use. We do have a countdown timer, so it's going to be popping up here on the screen. Bear with me as I'm trying to do the producing side of this as well. So something probably will go wrong. So don't yell at me on here. If you are watching on YouTube, if you're just listening to us, then you won't. Doesn't matter to you. So here we go. Let me get this rolling here real quick.
How are we going to go through the topics? Just
You're
just going to throw them out?
Yeah, I'll just throw them out. I'll just go one at a time.
Okay.
We'll just boom, boom, boom. Maybe we'll put, if we have Bengals, we'll lump those together, Reds together, etc. Okay. So that is how we will do this. So I think the very first one, let's look at since this is the only one, and we talked about it earlier in the week that was. Let's go ahead and says, does Wes Miller coach at UC next season? And begin.
Yeah, so that was mine. I threw that out there. So yeah, I mean, I basically was just asking you. I know my answer on it. I just kind of wanted to hear you guys' thoughts on it. Charlie, go.
Yes, he will. Between the payout being $13 million or so, it's a little bit like the Satterfield issue. The payout's too large for UC to make that payout, and they just don't have the donors to come in and just like some other schools would, just to wipe them out. Plus, he's got 2 really good recruits, and those guys would say, "See you later," if he was gone. So I'm pretty confident he'll go back.
Yeah, I agree with that. My take would be, I think John Cunningham doesn't get an extension. I think he is gone because I don't think they want him making another hire, right? Because the Satterfield, the story's still out. I mean, you got 2 years. Maybe next year they'll do something, and then Wes, it's 4 years here with Wes now. His time, his seat's getting hotter. But I think that, if somebody's going to get fired, it's going to be John Cunningham before any of the head coaches, because the new AD then will be able to bring in his own guys. And you never want to have a lame duck AD hire a coach. So that's my take.
Yeah. I mean, I'd like to see him go. I think it's just hasn't worked out. The team's not buying into him. But I think if you keep him, he's going to have to turn over the roster. I don't know that there's a single guy that he can bring back after the way that this team's responded to him this year. So I think it's going to have to be a whole new roster.
All right. So there's topic 1. Topic 2, we have another singleton here, and it's mine. It's officiating in sports. Why are the officials so bad? Let me stop this here. This year. So just want to hear your takes on it. I mean, we looked at, last night there was the ejection from JT Toppin, Texas Tech. That was horrible. I watched the IU Purdue game, and both teams, there were so many fouls committed and non-fouls. I just don't know. But here we go, and I'll let you guys run with it. Go.
I mean, the real reason, or my conspiracy theory happened. you guys know that angle of it. I'll stay away from that. I think part of it is the reliance on replay. So many of these calls they can just go review. They don't have to practice being perfect. And so when you have a call that's not eligible for review, it just gets lumped in, and they're just kind of flying by the seat of their pants. And there's also no real repercussions for the refs. They don't have to answer to anybody. I don't think they get fined or suspended or anything like that for egregious calls. So, the accountability is not there. And I honestly do think the reliance on replay for a lot of this stuff has really hampered it. But on this, same coin, other side, it allows us to see all the missed calls now too, with 30 replay angles for every little play. So I do see both sides of it, but I do think replay has actually had a negative effect on the overall officiating.
Yeah, I can agree with that as well. And I think, the camera angles and all the social media, I think, has been involved as well. People able to post their opinions. I mean, at one point you didn't hear all those opinions, and people, it might have been bad calls and missed calls, but how'd you know that except talking with your friends? You don't hear from the main guys on the, in the media all that big, when they were just doing it on TV or the radio. Now it's, we hear much more on the social media stuff. And a lot of people don't want to go into refereeing. I wouldn't do it. From all the money that's involved, even for youth sports, is just terrible. So I think that might be a little bit part of it too. It's just kind of moving its way up the system.
Yep. And the only other thing I will add is I think the athleticism of the player, especially in basketball, have been, this just makes it harder to ref. All right. The third topic here. Let's go with Bengals question now. Let's say this is yours, Crawley. Who on the Bengals would you cut? Who on the Bengals would you cut? Sam,
yeah, so I'm thinking of I'll let you guys answer it, but just to set it up, right? The current guys that are not the free agent guys, because you don't cut them. Right. So it's not about the guys. It's not T. Higgins we're not talking about. We're talking about guys that would be under contract for next year. Which guys would you say adios to?
Okay. And are you ready, Sam?
Yep.
And go.
Yeah, so I've got 3 just right off the bat jump to my mind. Both guards, Volson, Kappa, and Sam Hubbard. Especially Kappa and Hubbard, because their cap numbers are quite large. You can free up some significant space and actually get improvements with that amount of money. Or in theory, you should be able to get improvements with that amount of money. And I'm just tired of seeing Volson out there. It is what it is. He was a third or fourth round pick. These guys don't always work out. You hope they do, but if they don't, they don't. So those would be the 3 that come to my mind right away. There's probably 5 other guys that you could cut too. So
yeah, I would agree with the guards and Hubbard. I don't foresee Hubbard being on this team come March. The other one. I mean, you could say maybe a Miles Murphy. I think it's still too early for him, but he could be, especially, I mean, if Osai keeps playing well and they draft another, you know, outside rusher to take the place of Hubbard, I don't know. Um, and then, Geno Stone, I don't know if
Yeah.
he's, I mean, even though he did come on towards the end a little bit with the 4 picks, I just think his time is up as well.
Yeah, I'd throw Rankins in there too.
Yeah, I forgot about Rankins.
I think Rankins might be number 1 actually.
He might be number 1 now. Yeah. All right, Carly, you got 5 seconds.
Yeah. I mean, you said a lot of the guys. I was thinking Geno Stone. I think Jermaine Pratt would be someone as well. Would be a veteran to go say bye. I also would get rid of Jermaine Burton. He would. I wouldn't let him in the facility again.
Yeah. I totally forgot about him. Yep. So there you go. You got about 7 guys that probably should be out the door. Okay. Next one, since we went with the Bengals here, it looks like the next one is Joe Burrow made some interesting comments during the Pro Bowl skills. Just want to hear your takes on it. What do you think? Was it just comments, or do you think there was an underlying theme to his comments? So here we go. Go.
All right, Carl, you can go first.
I mean, are we talking about in reference to bringing that we should be bringing guys back the
like
guys
Higgins,
that he wants and stuff that he wants
specifically
back.
Higgins and
yeah, I mean Burrow wants
Jason,
those guys.
All 3 of them. He said he made a comment that we have the money to make it work.
Yeah, I mean he's also not the one that has to figure out the salary cap either, and and when he's taking up the biggest chunk of the salary cap, then again it's it's a little bit, if it's that easy to bring these guys back, then he might have to help out a little bit in some way. And I'm not saying he needs to. I mean, he has to. I mean, he does. I'm not, he got the money, take the money. But there's a lot of guys, Mahomes and Brady, who have been the top of the game for the last 20 years, who have done things to help retain players.
Yeah, I mean, we know quarterbacks are very calculated in what they say and how they choose to say things when they choose to say them. So I do think it's a bit of a message. I mean, it's an obvious one. We all know that this is what the front office should be trying to do. It is, in my opinion, it's refreshing to hear Joe say that and not just be like, yeah, I'll make whatever work. He wants his guys there. He knows what works, and he wants the ownership. He wants the Browns and Blackburns to do whatever it takes to make sure these guys are sticking together and are his weapons for the future. I mean, yeah, that's what I got there.
Yeah, I reading the tea leaves maybe could be, hey, you need to, we balled out. Now it's your turn to pay up, or else I may be gone when it's time to leave. So that's my take. All right, so that was 3. Here comes 4. Let's see. Or was that 4?
That was 4.
5. That was 4. Here comes number 5. Let's start with let's go back. Sam has one here. Cincinnati expansion teams, an NBA team, an NHL team, or a National Women's Soccer League team.
Yeah, those are just the 3 that I've seen floated out there potentially just from people in the media. Mm-hmm. I've heard small rumors about. I guess you could throw WNBA in there, but I haven't seen anything on any rumors on that. Right. So just, I guess, of those 3, which one would you lean to?
Okay. And go. Carly, you want to go first? You want me to?
That's fine. I think the most likely of those 3 is NWSL. I mean, we were down to the final 3 just recently, and Denver got the bid. We have the facility for it. Really, everybody agreed that Cincinnati, even the NWSL people agreed Cincinnati actually had the best facility and the best setup for team day 1. But Denver won it, I think, largely out of geography. But another round, down the road, I'm sure if they're still doing well, they'll expand more. I mean, NBA and NHL, they don't even have a place they could do it at. I mean, nobody.
Yeah,
they're not going to put
teams would move.
They're not going to put any of those teams into whatever it's called now, Heritage Bank or whatever. So if they build a new arena, maybe, but I think that'd be a long way down the road.
Yep, and that's where I was leaning towards as well, that the arena is the thing, and I know the mayor and a couple of other prominent figures have expressed their concerns that we do need a new arena, but I don't think that's going to happen yet. I think the Bengals lease, the negotiation there has to happen first, and then see what's left, I guess, of the pie if they have to come back to the taxpayers for any type of taxpayer dollars to help fund another stadium. So yeah, I would think that the Women's Soccer League would be the next expansion team here in Cincinnati.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking as well. And I mean, NBA would probably be a team relocation, probably same with the NHL. I don't see the NHL going past 32 teams, maybe ever. So teams would have to move in that case.
Yep. All right. Our next topic is, let's go to the Reds here. Let's go with mine here. Did the Reds do enough to improve, this winter from last year? Go.
I think they did. It might be a minimal improvement, but I think getting Francona really helps out. It's way better than Bell. So I think that's a couple wins right there. Let's just say that puts you at 500 right there. LA taking the next step puts you 2-3 games over. McLean coming back, CES coming back, maybe puts you a couple more wins. And then you kind of look at the additions. And the additions they're fine. Each one improved over what was there previously. So it's not like we downgraded anywhere. But nobody really tips the scale, in my opinion. It takes us from, an 85-win ball club to a 95-win ball club. So I do think if that's where you want to be, you do need to go out and make a bigger splash. Because otherwise right now you're probably in that mid-80 mark.
Yeah. We had a couple of weeks ago, whatever, we talked about our confidence in the front offices of whatever, and I was not confident on the Reds. My favorite team, but I still just don't believe in anything that they're doing. So sure, it's fine. I mean, I'm glad they got those guys. I'd rather have them than not have them. And the biggest reason that I like them is it gets rid of some guys that they would have had on the roster, not because they're the great, Lux and everybody's the greatest players ever, just to get rid of some really bad players off the roster. So it doesn't hurt them. Does it make them into a World Series contender? I don't think so. I think it's going to take more internal guys to take quite a bit of step, and goes back to the whole thing of that we're all about, it's hope about everything. So sure. I mean, it's better than it was.
Yep. I would say just, 2 words, Bubba Thompson was on the opening day roster last year. So, and the other thing is they were 13 and 28 in 1-run games last year. So if you flip that a little bit, 500, that's 7 extra wins, 8 extra wins. So yes, I think they did enough. Okay. Our next topic. All right. This goes along the same lines here. Which Reds addition will make the most impact?
And that was my question.
That was
your
question,
so,
Crawley. Yep. So
right. So all the new guys,
all the new guys.
Pretty self-explanatory.
Yep. All right. Go, Sam.
So is Francona included in this, or are we talking players only?
Players
only. Players only. I'm going to go with Brady Singer. I think he's going to slot in as the number 2 guy. I think he's been relatively healthy, solid pitcher his entire career. So if he can be kind of workhorse in today's day and age is not the same as what we're used to. But if he can be the guy that gives you 6 innings every single time out, make 30 starts, kind of be the stability, while Hunter Green hopefully takes the next step, Lodolo hopefully stays healthy. I think he'll be the biggest impact guy of everybody they've got so far.
Excuse me. Yeah, I like that as well. You can never have enough pitching. Did we throw Nick Martinez in here? I mean, he was a free agent, came back.
Yeah, he wasn't a free agent. He never hit free agency.
He never hit free agency? Well,
No.
I thought he did.
No, he took the qualifying offer.
Oh, the qualifying offer. Okay, so technically.
Yeah, technically he never hit the market.
He never hit the market. Okay. So yeah, I think Singer would probably be, and then Trevino might be the second best just because of the backup catching play. I mean, I like Luke Malley, but it was horrendous. You got nothing out of the 9-hole when he batted, and his it just wasn't there. So I think that's going to be an upgrade, and that's going to free Stevenson a little bit to. I think he's going to come into the season more relaxed, and I think you'll see him take off before June with the bat. All right.
Okay. I guess, do I say anything?
Yeah, you can say something real quick.
Okay. I'm going to go a different way because they were so bad in the outfield. I'm going to say Austin Hayes. If he gives them even, a 2-3 WAR, he's just somewhat better than mediocre. Then that's an upgrade because they were so bad in the outfield. So I'm gonna again kind of hope for that. It's Austin Hayes.
Okay. All right. The next one will be. I think for the Reds one more time. The Reds blockbuster trade to make right now. If you could make one trade right now, what's the blockbuster move?
Yeah, this was mine. So I was kind of thinking that would, in your mind, put us in World Series contention. What's the trade?
Okay. Go. You want me to go, Carly?
Sure. Yeah.
All right. I think you have to trade for Rooker out from Oakland. I think he gives you that big power right-handed.
Sacramento
now, whatever. The A's, how about that? And give up Arroyo if you have to. Give up a couple of, lesser arms. Throw in either Petty or somebody else like that, and go get them. I think that puts us right there.
Yeah, I mean that's a good one. Yeah, I don't even know what would be realistic. I guess in terms of, he's probably fairly realistic. I know the A's are having to spend some money, so I think they were forced to spend some money. So he'll probably stay. But it would be a right-handed power bat of some sort. And again, I've said many times, you give all the prospects you need to. I don't care about any of them. So whatever it would take to get, a right-handed power hitting outfielder would be my preference. So that would be, Rooker. I know there was a little bit of rumor that the Reds were talking to Pete Alonso or something, but I don't believe that. So, maybe they made a phone call to the agent, just like the other 30 teams did too.
Right.
So I don't, but yeah, someone like that, put him in the, a number 4 hitter. They still don't really have that. They're relying on a guy who hasn't played and done anything in CES to be that guy. So that would be a massive upgrade. Does Sam have one?
I don't know. Do you, son?
Mine was Luis Robert, who it seems like they've given up on.
Well, I don't know if you read the article, but it was
I know there was some talk, but it seems like they moved on.
Well, the reason yes, they moved on, but they did not announce the Austin Hayes
The Hayes,
signing.
yeah.
Even though it was all out there, it was because they had something in the works with the
White Sox
conversation going on.
Yeah, and I guess it was Arroyo. There was a hang up on that and some money.
Yeah, I don't know how you're hung up on Arroyo. You've got 35 million middle infielders.
Right.
That's
so. Yeah, I mean, I would have made.
It's insane.
But at the same time, I mean,
if you're hung up on an arm, okay, but to be hung up on a shortstop when you draft 13 of them every single season, that's ridiculous. Get out of here with that.
But Robert,
Reds are number 6 in my confidence level.
Yeah, Robert only played 100 games in the last 2 years.
Cool. Arroyo's played 0.
Yeah.
So.
But yeah, exactly. I'm just saying. I'm just saying.
Yeah, no, I know. But
all right,
that's crazy.
All right, so this one, I guess, goes along with that, and this is number 9, I believe, and it's which players would you trade for, Ellie or Burrow?
Yeah, this is mine. So just like, and who would you? And obviously you can pick anybody you want. Who would you give Ellie up for, and who would you give Burrow up for?
All right, go Sam.
I'm not giving Burrow up. No, just period. Ellie would have to be an ace with multiple years of control. I mean, it pains me to say this, but Paul Skeens would be somebody who I could see, if they pulled that trigger 1 for 1, I'd be like, okay, I get it. So somebody like that. I don't know really any other pitchers. Not doing it for a single position player. Miss me on the prospects. We're not dealing with any of that. So, I mean, I guess if the Dodgers said, okay, we'll give you Shohei and Mookie Betts, I'd be like, okay, sure. But that's not happening. Exactly. So, realistically, I mean, Pittsburgh's not trading Skeens either. So, that's just how MLB trades work. It's prospects are involved. It's not big leaguer for big leaguer.
So I was looking at this and it was like, okay, do we, I want to ship him to the American League, because you don't want to.
Yeah.
I mean, so, you look at Detroit, they have 3 top 100 prospects you might be able to pull, and then a couple from their opening day roster, 26-man roster.
Yeah, if you gave me Scooble.
Or, the Nationals, Dylan Cruz, the outfield bat there. But I like your Paul Skeens, but Pittsburgh may be dumb enough to do that.
Yeah. If there's a team out there,
If there's a team out there, yeah. I mean, we're not trading for Juan Soto because we're not going to take on that contract.
But the question didn't have to worry. It was just make believe. Yeah. Who are you willing to?
Well,
would you take Juan Soto for Ellie?
I would.
I would. Yeah.
That would.
There you go.
So, okay.
I guess I found my position player, so there we go.
All right. So now it leads us to our wild card. And this is a good one. And this is Crawley's again. So, shout out to Crawley here for coming up with some good questions. So what is the moment or event in sports that shocked or surprised you?
And the reason I thought of this, I kind of stole from somewhere too, but it came up because of the Luka Doncic trade for Anthony Davis. And so that's, out of nowhere, no one would have guessed this. Nobody even knew about this as even a possibility. So, So for people that follow the NBA, this was a shock. So that's what kind of where it's coming from.
All right. And go.
Yeah. And that's literally the first thing that popped to my mind, just because I was reading that today, going over this, and I was like, holy cow, this fits perfectly because it makes 0 sense from the Dallas Mavericks perspective. You get an older player who's injury prone, more injury prone than Luka is. He's injured right now, and he's older, not as good. You can't run your offense through him. It makes absolutely zero sense, and they only got one pick out of it. Mikal Bridges was just traded to the Knicks for 5 picks. Just insane. Like I people don't have the words to like describe it. Like people are like, what's the deeper, underlying causes here? Like what legal trouble is Luka in? Is he about to get deported? Like why'd they do this? Like it makes no sense.
Well, Trump does not like Cubans, so well, I don't follow the NBA, so I really don't care who goes where. But when I was thinking about this, there was, 2 things that popped in my mind. The first one that popped in my mind was Buster Douglas, KO, and Mike Tyson, right? I mean, it was on pay-per-view, so we didn't, and it was over in Japan or wherever it was at. And next thing you know, it comes on that Tyson gets KO'd, and we're like, what? And we got to see the what? So that was one. And then another one, you got to go way back a little bit, is when the Baltimore Colts just packed up on the Mayflower, right, and drove across the country to Indiana, to Indianapolis. In the dead of night, nobody knew. It's like they packed it up and later. So those are the 2 things that shocked me the most. And Crowley, what about you?
One I thought of, a local one, was when Carson Palmer just said, "I'm done," and just like what? Did
that really shock you?
Who else has done that?
Well, that's true.
No one knew that was happening. I mean, there was no precedent for that. I mean, you can't even. I mean, and what's his name? The Colts guy, Andrew
Luck.
Yeah, Andrew Luck was a different situation. He basically was about dead. I mean, he had been beaten up so much, and I mean, he just backed away, I think, for his life. Carson Palmer, he was having some success. I mean, so was Andrew Luck, but but this was before the Luck one. So I think the Carson Palmer one, for me, a local one that was like no one predicted, no one could see that was going to happen, and all of a sudden he's just like, yeah, I'm done with these bums, and see you later.
Yep. All right, real quick before we get out of here, Super Bowl predictions, because we are not. I don't think we're going to be coming to you next week, unless we go early.
Right. Yeah.
So we'll discuss that after the show, and we'll let you all know. So, who do you got? Eagles or Chiefs?
Well, it depends on if I have money on it. If I'm basing it on which I don't, and I'm not. But if I did, I'd pick the Chiefs just because they don't lose. They don't lose in these situations. Sorry, as much as Cincinnati fans hate that, they don't lose. So until they do, someone else beats them beside Burrow, and the Bengals haven't beaten them recently, I would never put money against the Chiefs in a situation like this.
Yeah, I'd say the Chiefs. I don't know. I don't care. There's a good chance I'm not even going to watch. So I think my biggest prediction is this will be the last time you see Taylor Swift on your screens for an NFL game. So there's that. So cheer for that if you want to.
All right. Yeah. And I will pick the Chiefs as well. In fact, I kind of want the Chiefs to win just because I don't want any of these younger quarterbacks to get a Super Bowl before our man Joe Burrow does, and then we have to listen to how great they are. So I'm just glad Josh Allen and Lamar Jackson are watching from the couch just like our guy is. And I hope they stay there, and I hope our guy wins one before they do. All right. About wraps us up. Next week, if we are on, we'll talk a little bit about the Super Bowls, the best ofs. So basically the best games that we recall, the halftime performances, the best venues for the Super Bowl, and the best national anthem rendition, and obviously the best commercials. So till the next time, hit that like and subscribe button. You can find us on all your podcasting platforms. Plus, we'll be releasing segments here throughout the week on YouTube. So until then, for Sam and Charlie, I'm Dave. Everybody take care.
See ya.
See you later.